Alrighty. Well, it would not be a car maintenance stream if it didn't involve, or car maintenance day, if it didn't involve a stream. Impromptu stream. So welcome everybody. It's time for an impromptu hangout stream. And I am here, walking along, feeling a little bit of drizzle, which is a little bit worrisome because I didn't bring my jacket. So that's going to be a problem if it rains. But it's a problem for future me. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that they don't put car dealerships and service things along, sort of like very isolated places, roads for the most part. I don't know why every place I take a car to has to be along a hugely busy road. I guess for convenience sake, but geez. Traffic, man. Alright, I don't think this place is open yet. Life Cafe. Not yet. I'll have to give that a shot. When and if I have to go back and do maintenance. But this is it. I love it at the cars, by the way. I mean, I guess on the one hand it's good that they're staggered, because I guess I couldn't really afford either in resources and time to have both cars at the same time. But I was like, good, I got the maintenance done. And then, what are you doing? Oh, that's what you're doing. So yeah. All right. But the good news is I can pretty much do sidewalk most of the way. So that's good. We got well, we'll hit the coffee bar up later. Stop breaking mirrors. It's not a mirror. What's up, Echo Alpha? It's not a mirror, it's just regular maintenance. I've only ever had to break a mirror had a broken mirror once, and that wasn't my fault either. But this is not a mirror. This is just car going in for regular service. Tire rotation. And this is the car that my mother-in-law usually drives, so probably I'm going to have to get like brakes done, and it's the cost of owning a car. Even at Toyotas and hybrids, which are both really good cars, it takes something. So it's okay. How are you doing, Echo? I'm not breaking any mirrors though. Yeah, that was on my that was on the van, the Honda van. Frustration. Uh-oh, what happened? You logged out of Spotify. Oh no. Yeah, I hate that. I want the biometric era here in the worst way. Just, I'm so tired of having to remember passwords. I mean, I have a password manager, but I'm with you. It's a pain in the butt. Hey, what's up, Imaginary Exponent? Mr. Fusion, I know. Some of the technology is pretty wild on some of these things, but I don't think we've gotten there, so. So yes, welcome everybody. Welcome to a Thursday. My goodness, busy today. Like I said, I can do sidewalk almost the whole way. Oh, that's good. That's a good thing. Head and face shaven. This is really funny. Look at this. Okay, so he's got stickers, right? RFK, sock it to a Bobby, and not RFK Jr., because, as he quite rightly understands, RFK Jr. is not his dad. At all. Alright, let's see how we do here, Chad. Hi, just one. Thank you very much. Just water, please.
Water?
Yep. Okay. All right, Chet. If you were with me last week, or whatever I did this last time, 2 weeks ago, you will recognize this place. Same place. Yep, because I took it to the same dealership. Yep, same dealership. And they're really close by. I could actually walk further and get to some other places, or I could go across the street. But thank you. But this is better, and I like their breakfast. I may get something different this time, though. Last time I got the pancakes thing, I think I may go with an omelet. Although I had potatoes yesterday, actually. I really like their combo, though. No, I don't want lunch stuff right now. Some of this stuff is just straight dessert. Look at that. Cinnamon swirl, double blueberry, chocolate bliss. It's just dessert in the morning. Oh, brunch duo. There you go. Complimentary single pancake of any kind with an order of mimosa or a Bloody Mary. That would be super useful if I drank, which I don't. So I'm thinking that. Sherwood sampler right there. That's what I usually get here. I feel bad being so predictable, but I do like Benedict's, but the thing is, though, with this too, also, whatever I don't eat, I can bring with me, so I think I'm going to go with that. Question is, do I do the... I think I may go with a waffle this time. I did pancakes last time. I'll go with a waffle. So there we go. That is what we will do. Like, they just always hand this thing out, and I'm like, are people having cocktails at... Look at the time, chat. It's 9:30. You telling me that people are having cocktails at 9:30 in the morning? I mean, I guess someone is. Like, why would I don't know. It seems like not what I would do. Well, okay, I guess because they could say that it's for this, for the juices, I guess. So I guess there's that. But geez. Alcohol is so expensive. I'm so glad I don't drink for so many reasons, but this is one of them. How expensive all that is. Jeez. It's like people who smoke. It costs too much.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you today?
How are you?
Doing well. Ready to get started?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to have the Sherwood sampler, please.
What would you like?
I guess I'll get it with the waffle.
Sure. How do you like yours?
Scrambled. Okay, thanks. All right, chat. So, hello. How's everyone been? Scrambled like the brain. I like eggs in a lot of different ways, but scrambled is probably my favorite. I like the mix. Exactly, imaginary. That's my goal: is to make you feel I don't know, connected in some way to this experience. This is full 4D Twitch immersion right here. You know, 4D Twitch immersion. I'm under Dark Saber syndrome. What is that? Is that related to tentacles somehow? That's my experience with Dark Saber syndrome. Oh, food. Good. Yeah, these discussions happen in chat all the time, and all of a sudden I'm just like, all right, well, it looks like we're going to be eating then. So, but no, if it weren't, the truth is, I don't mind. I kind of enjoy these impromptu streams, and I like doing them. If I'm going to have to be out here with the car anyway, then I like hanging out with all of you. And this is going to be the last one of these sort of car streams. Although I may try to do some more of these because I really enjoy these impromptu streams, and I may try to do more of them over the summer if time and space and circumstances permit. It's going to be busy. We are going up to the family and I. So first of all, I should say happy birthday to Mini Arf. It's my son's birthday today. He is 8 years old, officially as of today. So he no longer has to use the booster seat in the car. But he is 8. So that's the first thing. Happy birthday to Mini Arf. Yeah, I thought about that, Echo. That is possible. I could do that. But the thing about the writing session is, so I can do this on my phone, right? But I can't do that on. Okay, good. I have my other stuff. I can't do that on my phone. Obviously, I have to bring my laptop, and then I need Wi-Fi. So I'd have to like bring it to the cafe nearby, which I could do. So it's something to think about. Yeah. So he's now 8 years old, and so his birthday party is this weekend. So that's going to be the big focus this weekend is his birthday party. And then next week, the family and I are going to Lake Placid, New York, and we are going to be going to the longest coaster in North America, and it is called the Cliffside Coaster, Lake Placid. It's where the Winter Olympics were held in the 1980s, Echo. Yep. And it's the Cliffside Coaster, which is the longest coaster in the world, and it goes down along the bobsled track that they had at the time in the 80s. And apparently the cars, you can control the two-seater carts, and you can control the speed that they go down the hill. So I've been thinking about it for a while. It'd be cool to be able to go up there and do that. So we are going to go up as a family, and we're going to do that, like I say, not this weekend, but the next weekend. So I'm going to be streaming from up there on Saturday night, I think. So yeah. And then a week that I'll be home, and then a week after that we have some other travel, and so yeah, gonna be busy. Hey, what's up, Lawbook? Yes, I'm actually really excited about it. If you go on and look, there's a video. If you go on YouTube and you look for a video of Cliffside Coaster, this person took a camera shot of the entire way down the track. It's like a 4 or 5 minute, I think, like ride down, which is pretty slick. And you also go, I think, all the way up on the same car, pulling you up or whatever, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so it's neat. And there's a person, I think, who, there's a narrator, like a tape thing where they show you different parts of the track and what speed you go at different times or whatever, so that's pretty cool.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Hi.
I couldn't help but notice I was looking out the window and you saw the bumper stickers on the back of my car.
Are you the guy with the RFK stuff?
Yeah.
I'm with you the whole way, including the one on the right. Not like his dad.
Well, that's what I wanted to mention to you. Is
Yeah.
I've had those bumper stickers on my car for decades.
Yeah.
And now that his son is running, I had to go and find one that has
the
slash.
no one got confused either.
Because people were getting confused.
Oh my God.
What I always tell everybody is the only thing his son and I have in common is we both loved his father. And that's it.
Yeah, that's well said. He's a good guy, Bobby. But yeah,
sure
good
was.
on you. I agree.
Okay, thank you.
See? That was pretty cool. That was the guy who owned the car with the RFK stickers I was showing. That's cool. Yeah. There's a good argument to be made. Is what normal? To have bumper stickers on a car, you mean, imaginary? Do you mean? Oh yeah, it can be. It doesn't happen all the time. But he saw that I was actually had the camera. I had the phone pointed at the bumper stickers for a minute, and I figured it was fine. This is Connecticut. This is fine. And actually, the interesting thing is, I'm with him. Obviously, I was not born when RFK was killed, but there's a good argument to be made. The JFK thing, I think, is part sort of nostalgia and hype. I'm not sure that JFK actually did all that much. Bobby Kennedy, though, was different. Bobby actually, if you look at what he did as an attorney general, as many other things, this is a guy who gave one of the most admirable speeches ever, which is when he told people, and I forget where he was, maybe in Indianapolis, I can't recall, after Martin Luther King was assassinated, his advisors wanted him. They were worried because it was in a majority black neighborhood. And they said, we don't want you to talk to people or give a speech. It's going to be a bad mood. And he absolutely said, first of all, he told his advisors to get bent because he was like, why would these people be more violent than anyone else? So he yelled at them. Secondly, he gave this incredible speech where he told people that Martin Luther King had been assassinated, and then went on to talk about what the situation the country was in, and then he, of course, himself was assassinated a couple of months later. He, I think, would have been a great president. I think Bobby would have been that good, and we'll never know. He was on I think he was on the back of a pickup truck, actually, Lotwook. Extraordinary, though. Like, just an incredible, beautiful speech, impromptu. And he talked about, thank you very much. And he talked at the time about, his own loss, what had happened to his, that his father, his brother, JFK, who had been shot and everything, so he knew the whole bit. So anyway, I have a lot of admiration for Bobby Kennedy, even though obviously I wasn't alive when he was, but I have a lot of admiration for him, and I think he would have done a lot of good. So anyone who's got the RFK stickers, but the RFK with the sign through, yeah, I totally agree, Triffid. Totally agree on that score. I think he would have been something else. But anyway, so the guy having the RFK stickers, and he said he told me he had those stickers on that car for a long time, and then he had to go find an RFK Jr. with an X through it because he didn't want anyone to get confused. So that was pretty cool. Oh, interesting, imaginary. No, I wouldn't say that's true here. I think it depends on the circumstances. I mean, also you got to remember, it's a fairly busy diner, right? It's 20 minutes to 10, like, in the morning, you know what I mean? Like, if the guy walked up to me glowering at me and was like, what were you looking at? I guess I would have taken it differently. But the dude is carrying a walking staff, you know what I mean? Like, I just could tell there was not a problem. And I do think, I have to say, imaginary, that, like, I think that's a good sign, right? I think it's a good thing that we can, I know what you mean. I'm not in any way I understand why you would say that. But it's nice that we're not necessarily in a situation where we have to be afraid of everyone who comes up to us. This is the way it should be. Even if the guy had come up to me and said, like, listen, you shouldn't take a picture of those stickers. I don't think he would have done that, but even if he had said that, I would have been like, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, it's just two people having a conversation, and instead he was like, oh, I just wanted you to know. And he was probably also waiting to see what I was going to say. So when I was just like, I was like, you're right, like 100% with you on all those stickers. I am an RFK fan, as I just said, and also RFK Jr. is not a good person, and a weirdo. And he was just like, yep. So, would you deny an old man his walking stick? Yeah. No, that was cool. Also, I think it was on the back of a Subaru.
Do you like those cars?
Most people who drive Subarus, you can feel, my mom had a Subaru. Like, they're pretty steady people, you know what I mean? People who drive Teslas now, like, older Teslas is one thing, but people who go buy Teslas now, you have to start wondering about a little bit. People who buy Cybertrucks, you worry a lot about. And then there are people who buy, you got a Subaru. See, my mom, look, I've never owned, I owned a Subaru Justy, so I did have a Subaru back in the day. But everyone who owns a Subaru is always like, yeah, I own the car for like 50 years until it literally rusts and falls apart in my driveway. Like, everyone, is that true? Like, everyone I know is just like, yeah, Subarus, I'll never stop getting a Subaru. I'm a Toyota fan myself, but man, Subaru fans love Subarus.
That's very good. So he's actually from outside of Minneapolis.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I heard that their engines are put in a different position or something like that, which is unusual. I had heard that. And I don't know why they do that. There's some specific reason. Yep, an Impreza. My mom had an Outback. Okay. Yeah. I used to be a Honda guy, and then I'm converted completely to Toyota because, unlike Honda, Toyota doesn't underpower every engine they ever make. Imaginary Exponent, what you said is really interesting to me. It takes a long time, even generationally, even genetically, I think, to get away from that feeling. You know, like if you grow up with that sort of tension, and if your parents' generation grew up with that kind of tension, you are likely to absorb it even if things are different by the time you're born. So it usually takes a generation or two to kind of work that out of the population, or work it into a population, obviously. So I hear you. But in this circumstance, it's just a different vibe, though. That's interesting you had that reaction, though. I totally get it. I actually really love interactions like that, because I think every little interaction like that we have helps us build community in small ways, and you all know what I'm about, how I feel about community. So I like little interactions, excuse me, like that.
Northeast Ohio. So there were 64 North. Instead, I go to 65.
Also, I imagine if I had been sitting here, it's good. It is very good. Oh, I haven't had the waffle yet. I'm having the eggs first. If I had been sitting here sort of like this, I can imagine the guy might also have given it a miss, you know, but I mean, you know, it's me, right? I don't look threatening. I've got my shirt from Costa Rica that my wife brought back for me. You know, sort of growth, being one with the world, you know, all that. I do not give off the threatening vibe. Night Elf country. I can see that. Yeah. Oh, I really like this shirt a lot. I like the color, and I like the symbol. Minnie, Arv, and I yesterday were getting my father-in-law wants a family photo because he thinks it's really cool that my daughter is 16 and my son is 8, so he's exactly half her age. So he wants us to get a family photo. And so we're getting a family photo on Wednesday. So I went to Target yesterday with my son, and we got matching outfits. It was very cute because he was finding like the right size for me. And he's like, "Daddy, there's this one, and then we can get this thing." And so that was cool. Then when he realized that was all we were going to have time to do, then he was not as happy about it. He's like, "But I want to go do this and do this." And I was like, "Yeah, we can't do all of those things, but no, it was cute." I will pass it along to him, Echo. Thank you. Yeah, he was very excited about his birthday. Got to sit without the car seat today. He has graduated out of the car seat. He obviously is going to have to sit in the back for a couple of years now still, but no longer on the booster seat because he's more than tall enough, and now he's of an age where he doesn't need to use the booster seat anymore. So that's another milestone.
As I said, I was having a bad day, and I just want to reach out. Anyway, give me your card. I'll send you my resume.
You mean like, what do you mean? Do you mean like drive-in cinemas, Echo?
The reason I got here is you were selling houses before.
Ordinary cinemas. Oh, you mean like bringing in the seat for him to sit on the seat, you mean? No, he doesn't need it. He's tall.
They always have two.
Yeah, no, he's tall.
He still had two. One was, before I got there, it was only used to sell smart cars. They actually had an elevator big enough to take a smart car.
Right, and I do think there's some of that still imaginary. There's still some of that that you want to emphasize. You don't want to bother people necessarily, but it's sort of like, it's good practice, in my view, to teach your kids to sort of read the room and get a sense, like if you have a person who's smiling at you or they have a kid in the booth, you know, sometimes there's situations where we can be like, oh, look, look, my son, look at what he's doing, or look at what she's doing, and she's younger than you, or stuff like that. Like, you can kind of read the room, and that's a good sort of development. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so I'm 6'3". There's a good chance. I mean, I can't see how he's not going to get over 6 feet. I think he's definitely going to be over 6 feet. My little Arv grew really tall and then slowed down, and it's like 5 3/4. Like, I think she's still going to end up catching my wife, who's 5'6". I think she'll just beat her height-wise, but not by much. So she's slowed down, but men tend to grow taller than women. So, you wanted to join the Kids Taller Than Parents Club? If possible, we will see.
So again,
all right, here we go. Take a look. Waffle time.
I didn't have to do it, but I didn't know that. So if I got out of jury duty and then been out of the office for 4 days on jury, and then go to Oregon for 5 days.
Oh yeah, I hear you. I know that because I did this. The jury duty said I can't.
Little syrup.
What are you telling me? Something
Yeah. But it's also, I think it's an important thing, imaginary, to have a discussion about, though. Oh, cool. Echo. It's an important discussion, I think, to have imaginary, because it is something that we need to think about regarding who, what sort of shapes us, culturally, genetically, what things shape us, what bothers us, what are little warning signs that we have. So.
I once somebody
What's up, Dread Sister? One does not need to interact with strangers if one doesn't go anywhere where people are. Ah, it's using your head. It's true. Then the problem is, though, you perpetually remain aware of people around you as strangers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I am happy to do it, and I appreciate that you are. I'm glad that you're getting some value out of it, imaginary. That thing about making a car a must-have is a long discussion. But the short version is, it's a big country, like just in terms of land mass area. And based on the way that the country developed, mass transit in the cities is doable and is becoming more of a thing. In some cities, it's already a thing, and is becoming more of a thing in some places. And because our president is a big train guy, there is more and more of a focus on high-speed rail and trying to build those things, which is really important and way overdue. But there are so many areas, houses, stores, hospitals, schools, and everything that are not just walkable. Like, I mean, I grew up in a small town in northwestern Connecticut where it was walkable. I took, I lived at one point about 3 miles from my school up a hill, so we did take the bus down to it. But before we moved to that house on the hill, I would just walk to school every day, and it was like 1.5 miles, but it was pretty much flat, so I would just walk. And that was kind of what a lot of us did. And then I could take my bike maybe. I didn't actually start driving to high school, until I was halfway through my senior year. But then after that, I drove a lot of places because things just get spread out a little more, and so everything where I live is very convenient if you're willing to drive it. Otherwise, you have some close things you can walk to, like you have it's a little extended walk, but you could get to a grocery store without too much trouble or whatever. But stuff that's beyond that, like if you wanted to, like, we don't have a walkable doctor really. Like, we would need to drive to them and so on.
Different trials.
Yeah. And some places are just, I mean, if you get into certain places, because where I live, it's in a neighborhood, Some places you can get pretty isolated. And so cars become important, which is not great, obviously.
Right. That sounds on something.
Though I will admit that I do like the freedom of the car to stop when I want to stop and to drive how I want to drive. I will admit I have a little bit of that. But I recognize environmentally and otherwise it's not optimal. I get that. I have a hybrid to sort of reduce environmental impact. And the next car, that whenever we do have to get another car, it will be an electric car. So we're moving away. We will never have an all-gas car again. So. Right. Yeah, exactly like what. You could also take a bike to some of these things, but bike travel is very... Yeah, I know, it's true. It's true, Trip. But I admit, I know it's, it's true. There is something about getting your car, being able to drive, getting your license, that does feel freeing, admittedly. But as far as bikes are concerned, we're still in the transitional state, very much so in America. People take their bikes places to ride them. They have all these converted, used to be railroad tracks, and then they become bike trails, so rail trails. And a lot of people bring their bikes there and then ride their bikes on them, but they drive them there on a rack on a car, right? And even in the city, they've been making multiple efforts in New York City, for example, to try to make it bike friendly. But the result to me is that you end up with bikes that are sort of uneasily pretending to be cars. And I get very frustrated with a lot of regular cyclists, because basically cyclists treat themselves as bikes when they want to be, cars when they want to be, pedestrians when they want to be, and neither when they want to be. Cyclists run red lights all the time, and they're not supposed to do that. They always want to be we're just like a car. If you're just like a car, then you need to follow the rules of a car. And they don't do that. They just don't. So there's still a very uneasy relationship, I think, between cyclists and drivers. And I was, growing up, quite a bit of a cyclist. I bicycled everywhere. And now I obviously drive most places, and I do get frustrated about that. So it doesn't fit perfectly. My understanding of of a lot of countries in Europe, for example, the Netherlands, is that it's a much more bike friendly culture, and countries overseas in general. But it's not a thing here in the same way. So yeah, that's right. That's right, imaginary. Mm-hmm. If you live in the middle of a city, especially, don't need to have one. Dark Side Rob is 30. No, I don't remember if he's high 30s, just turned 40, high 30s. Anyway, but he's lived in New York his whole life. He doesn't have a license. Doesn't need one, because he's lived in New York, literally in the middle of the city his whole life. But I didn't. I was born in New York City, and I lived in Staten Island for 2 years. But then I was in New Jersey and Connecticut, in places where mass transit was not a thing. Really, not even buses. In Connecticut, where northwestern Connecticut there, the only bus I took regularly was the school bus to school. But there was no mass transit bus where I lived. No way. There was no. You had to ride down hills, a bunch of hills. I lived on Hilltop Drive. You had to go down a bunch of hills on a bike to get to where you wanted to go. Yeah. 41, that's right.
I'll stay in touch with my.
That's right.
Because you're playing golf today?
So yeah, never had a license.
I think it's supposed to be sunny.
My wife is saying that thunderstorms are coming.
Well, I heard on the radio what's that fun.
Actually, that's a question to echo. How, Imaginary Exponent made me think of it. How bike-friendly is Norway? Oh, yeah? My son can walk to his school. My son, we live like not even half a mile from his school. Yeah, but I wonder if Norway is too hilly in places. Like maybe it is. Maybe in Oslo it's more bike friendly. I don't remember when I was there. I don't remember it being super bike like centric. I don't remember that, but.
Freddie, when I came to your house the other night, I walked into Davis and it was almost like
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. And I was thinking about Bergen has a lot of hills. I mean, you can ride a bike on hills, obviously. I'm sure people do it in San Francisco, but it'd be kind of rough. You would not ever skip leg day if you were trying to ride a bike in San Francisco. It's a good waffle. Entrance toward a street, a door on the second floor that exits the same street. Oh, because it was on. Because it was on a hill. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I just don't understand. Like, I found this about San Francisco. Seattle, Washington, is way more hilly than people give it credit for. Way more hilly. If you go down to Pike Place Market, which is pretty famous, there are steep hills getting down there. And I remember that my father-in-law had a Ford Bronco. Had a big Ford. No, not a Ford Bronco. No, it was a Chevy. Silverado. No. It's not a Suburban, which is why I'm getting confused. But anyway. Well. If it isn't Sunny. This is someone that I expected might be at a little something we like to call school. That's a good question, Triffid. I don't know. I'm not sure why. I would need to look at the origin. Do you know the answer to that? But, yeah, I have to say, it's super hilly in Seattle, and he had this huge car, this Chevrolet, and I was always like, the brakes, because it's a big car, and like he would come up, be facing the light, and like steep angle with his brakes on. I'm like, if these brakes give way, this car we are in big trouble. Like, Kyiv is quite hilly. Is it really? Interesting. I would not have thought. Well, but Ukraine is such a huge country. Like, again, landmass area, huge country. Speaking of that, by the way, Imaginary, how are you doing? How's everyone doing there? Under the incredibly horrific circumstances, stressful circumstances. Yeah, I don't know, Triffid. It's a good question. I'm not sure. Interesting. To wave or fluctuate. Oh, that's interesting. Dnipro River. One of the banks is always hilly, is another very flat. Oh, cool. I have a theory, which is that sometimes the dynamic topography of a city or any location, frankly, the dynamic topography of a location has an effect on the cultural production of said city and the artistic creativity of the city. So that a city that has many nooks and crannies and, uncertain places, or, like a lot of variation, tends to produce varied art. I don't mean like visual art, although there's that too, but just in terms of the artistic production, dance, writing, visual art, sculpture, things like that. So yeah, that's what I have a theory about that, which is anecdotal and based on no actual evidence or data. It's just something that I've often wondered about, if that has an effect. You've had issues with electricity and with blackouts 4 hours long twice a day. Jeez. Like waffles. There you go. Oh, interesting, Echo. Yeah, we used to have, in my neighborhood, they had for a while those scooters that were same thing, like electric scooters, and you could drive, and I saw people like zipping around to them. They're gone now, and I wonder if that's because like it was a pain to maintain them, or because people were taking them so far away that they weren't getting back to where they needed to go and all that stuff. So I wonder. Boy, you know what though, Imaginary? Like 4-hour blackouts twice a day. I mean, it's obviously, it's better than other things could be, but that's still a huge impact on life and existence. So, Oh, good, I'm glad, Echo. So yeah, I continue to be very impressed, as we've talked about before, Imaginary, about the courage of the Ukrainian people. Hey, by the way, speaking of stuff that's related to this, so I should send a shout out to my publisher, one of my publishers, Athos Arts. Yeah, do you just have have you invested in like battery? Like, do you use solar power? Like, have you like on a local level? Are you able to like do like a portable generator? Like, what do you do in that situation? But I wanted to mention that my publisher, Athos Arts, was running a GoFundMe, batteries, yeah, was running a GoFundMe, class letting us relax at the end of the year. I did all my work. I don't have my headphones. Oh, okay. Can someone type to Sunny Senny that I get it, and I'm glad that her work is done. Oh, and she's a great kid. Thank you, Echo. But anyway, what was I? Hey, what's up, Effect Life? Because of IFT4? What is IFT4? And hi, Effect Life. But what I was going to say was the GoFundMe that Athos has been running, they got a huge integrated flight test for. Ah, I see. Yes, I heard about that. I heard that they achieved orbit. Right? Was that, or no? Boeing did a flight, right, and got them into space. I read a quick headline, but I didn't know the details. Yeah, I was going to ask that too, Triffett. How are you doing with the house and so on? And beyond that, I was going to say that the GoFundMe that they're running, they got a $5,000 anonymous donation in the evening. So they're now, as of last check, when I checked it, they're less than I think $1,900 away from their $15,000 goal, which I know would be a big help to Athos. So very, very cool. So I'm very happy about that. And I mention it because one of the reasons they needed that money was because of the Ukrainian stuff that they've produced. The Ukrainian, obviously, Embroidered Worlds, that Ukrainian anthology, which has been so well received critically, and then this new book that's going to be published by the Ukrainian who was killed in the war. So congratulations to them. Overwhelming success. It's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, Boeing's. So, and Boeing is Boeing, right? Boeing is working on that project, right? I'm not mixing it up with something else. That is partly Boeing, yes. Yeah, they do be like that. No, definitely not. There is, I think, especially some of the biggest news about the U.S. doing what they needed to do, way too late, but of funding again Ukraine. That was huge, and then also the allowing Ukraine to strike within Russia was weapons was also a big deal. So it is definitely on the mind here. I think I would argue that I can't say a significant majority of Americans, let's put it this way, gets the idea that this is not just about a battle over territory in some far-off land, that this is democratically existential. So people get it. And there are a lot of, when I drive around here, there are a lot of Ukrainian flags that have not come down. That have been there. So the big foreign policy issues, which I'm not going to get too much into here right now, are obviously Gaza and the terrible situation in Gaza, and then Ukraine. But Ukraine has not been forgotten. Oh, okay. Okay, right, but Starliner also worked, though. Okay, I got you. Yeah, that's right. But Starliner did work, yes. Like Starliner, that was the article I thought I read that said that the Starliner with people in the capsule made it up there, which is good. Yeah, that's good. It's pretty extraordinary, that humans do some terrible things, but that's pretty wild, honestly, that humans are able to do that. Apologies, I'm going to blow my nose shut. You got that right, Gregory. It is, right? I got one strip of bacon and one piece of sausage that remains. And I'll save that for a little bit later. Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty wild. It is pretty wild. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna get a box, and then for this extra food, and then I'm gonna head over and we're gonna get some tea, and then we can sit down and chat at the cafe. Speaking of, by the way, Echo, of what you were saying about the writing stuff, I should say that starting next week, I'm going to be going back into. I will have gotten most of the other stuff. Like, I'll have fulfillment. I'll have stuff sent off for the ArvCon stuff by the end of this weekend / early next week, and then I'll be getting into my next. Excuse me. I'll be getting into my next manuscript, and I'll be working on that, doing my page a day thing. So if I do a writing stream, I might do just a couple of pages. That page a day thing is super useful for me in writing Heretic, even though I really had to push at the very end, because I got started doing the page a day thing later because I had all this other work I had to do, but it really was helpful. Exactly right, Latwook, yeah. 100%. I think most people do get that, people understand that it wouldn't stop at you. Even if we didn't think we had an ethical reason to defend a democracy, beyond that, it wouldn't stop at Ukraine, So yeah. Yes, this is called a diner. It's called the Sherwood Diner. Diners are uniquely, it's a very American thing because diners are well known, especially Greek and Italian diners are well known for having these ridiculous. Now Sherwood is not this way, but a lot of diners are ridiculously big menus where you can order 150 different things. You can get breakfast all day. You can get all kinds of stuff from steak to fish to salad to stir fry to tons of things. And so diners are really an institution, especially where I live in the Northeast. Oh, someplace, you mean which things that I wrote? I could probably figure that out, Echo. I mean, I know that I worked on Winnie and Wormwood, I know that for sure. Which is currently looking for an agent / publisher. If you know anybody, send them my way. My middle grade book. I worked on Heretic, I'm pretty sure, and maybe Renegade. A little bit, especially Renegade, I probably did with those writing streams. I probably did Greyshade back in the day. Yeah, Winnie and Wormwood. It was Winnie and Wormwood, yeah. And they're open very late or overnight. You can... Wait, Lotwook, you can get a curry in England late at night? Now you're talking my language. I love Indian food. I just had Indian food yesterday with a friend of mine. Ye old college diner in State College, yeah. My dad was a short order cook for a little while, too. Do I outline each page when you do page a day? No, I do not. Before I even get started, especially if I'm writing, it's different for a short story, but if I'm writing a novel, I write out a chapter-by-chapter outline, which usually is like kind of a paragraph in length and has some like little bit of elements of like big story beats within those chapters. And then I can change, I'm not slave to the outline. I can change the book as I go along and then adjust the outline accordingly. But I do that ahead of time. And then once I have that there, then as I'm going through, as I'm writing my page a day, I have the general sense of what each chapter was supposed to do. Because otherwise, if I didn't do that, I agree with you, it would get segmented. So that would be a problem. Winnie, yeah, it's W-I-N-I, actually. Yeah. I think it's very helpful to know where you're going, or to know that at some point you knew where you were going. Even because like sometimes you can feel like I am alone in the wilderness and I don't know, where I'm going or what I'm doing. It's helpful to be able to know that at some point I wasn't an idiot, and at some point I knew what my book was going to be. That sucks, Lotwook. Yeah. I hate whenever a local business like that of any kind, but something that's an institution closes, it's a sad day. Again, Lotwook, those are community places. Again, right? Those are places where communities gather. We have a place near where I live, which is a very prominent cafe place that is, God, they've been a fixture in my neighborhood for. They've been there for 20 years or so. I mean, obviously we've only been there for 3, but. Welcome back, Feckley. Being replaced by big chains. Ugh. It's the worst. Do you know they built near me a brand new Chick-fil-A? Gutting this old building that was some Italian pizzeria, and then they're like, let's make a Chick-fil-A. I'm like, Chick-fil-A? And this is one of the big honking Chick-fil-A's too, with the two oversized, we need to compensate for something, U.S. flags. And the mega neon sign. I'm just oh God, Chick-fil-A. Really? We needed another one of those? Whoa. The breweries were the community centers for us leftist atheists. Yeah, I can imagine. The very first comment on Facebook was, let's get a Chick-fil-A there. That says so much about Facebook, Lotwook. I have not been on Facebook myself for quite a while now. That says so much about Facebook. That's so funny. It's like a micro. I mean, it's funny in a sort of sad way, but it's a microcosm, right? From pizza to chicken, yeah, and not just in any way, Echo. You know what I mean? Not just chicken, Chick-fil-A, which is no thanks. Also a terrible company. Chick-fil-A. This is one of those things where I'm like, oh, I wonder what this is going to be. And it's if it's replaced... we have this local place near us that is now a chicken gyro place. And they replaced this place that was a seafood crab place that wasn't very good. So this new place that came in, the guys who run it are great, and the food's really good. And they're two guys trying to make it work, and it's gotten good buzz and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it's all about, sign me up for that. I was excited to see that go in. But, Chick-fil-A? You prefer chicken fillet. Yeah, but not Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, the restaurant, is not good quality chicken. It is junky. It is cheap McCheap. I like chicken fillets too, but not from this place. Exactly. Very easy. Right, there's a couple ones that fit that list, like Hobby Lobby. Nope. Chick-fil-A. Nope. It's when you get into companies that it's harder to do because they're so ubiquitous, that becomes difficult, but I don't need to ever set foot inside a Chick-fil-A. True story. My father, who would have been July, next month, July 16th, he would have been, it's 2024, right? So my father would have been 94 this year. My goodness. I think he would have made it too, honestly. Anyway, my father, this had to be, so he's been gone. He died in 1998. So he's been gone, this November, he will have been gone for 26 years. That is wild. Boy, that is wild to think about. Anyway, so probably about 27 years ago, we went into this Applebee's. My wife at the time, we were just dating, and my parents and someone else, I think. And they were like, my father was like asking them, came in, like put in his name to go on the wait, to be on the wait list. And then a couple other people came in and got seated in front of us. So my dad was just like, okay, well, so he went up to them. He's like, sorry, I just, those wanted to make sure we were still on the list. And the waiter, like the maitre d' or whatever, this Applebee's, was really rude. Was just like, sir, we said we would let you know, like that. So I was like, I was really pissed off, and I'm like, okay, well, you said that. Now we're going to leave, and I will not set foot in an Applebee's again for at least a decade. For 20 plus years, I did not go back to an Applebee's. Not that I would have gone to Applebee's a lot, but there were at least a handful of occasions where I went to like a Chili's because that was the only thing around or something, where I could have gone to an Applebee's, and I was like, no. So they lost out on, I don't know, I probably over the course of those 3 to 4 visits would have spent $60, $70, something. So like they lost out on that because of one jackass. So I felt very proud. It was my own, no one cared, but it was my own boycott because screw those people. But again, it was easy to do that because Applebee's sucks anyway. If it was something that I really liked, that would have been hard. Filling our town with ugly storage facilities. Oh, your father is July 25th? Yeah. Yeah, no, my father was July 16th, 1930. And my mother was April 6th, 1936. So my mother would have been 88 this year. She's been gone for 15 years this October as well. God, that is mind-blowing to me. Because it's such a, like, when you have when your parents go, and everyone's relationship is different, right? But when your parents go, it's a milestone, right, that you pass, and you sort of note it in your life. And sometimes it's traumatic, and sometimes it's a relief, and sometimes it's, it's ambivalence, but, whatever. But it's something you note when you find out about it, when the person who, raised you, or people who raised you pass. And so it was very strange to think about the fact that, I am not, what's going to be really weird is when I am older than they were when they passed. That will be really strange. And I have a long time to go for that, thankfully, but, yeah. Interesting. Well, and you know the deal, right, Look, now Bob Stores is like, the Bob store near us just closed. Like, a bunch of the Bob stores are closing now. So, haha, suck it, Bob Stores. Hey, Corona Travis. Yeah, it really is, isn't it? Isn't it really strange? That's funny, imaginary. When you first started saying that, I was like, and then it was like, no, this is great. Because the outdated stuff, our outdated stuff is probably still pretty decent, I would guess. So, yeah, they went bankrupt. They went bankrupt, Lotwood, because they accused you of stealing shoes, and it was all downhill from there. Their people were like, listen, this shall not stand, all right? That's how that rolled. right, let me get a box and let's go get some tea. Yeah, you kept them afloat. You can trace a line from accused logbook of stealing shoes, and then you just see like the number dropping. Hey, logbook, by the way, I wanted to mention this. I don't think you were here for this announcement. So on Sunday, July 28th, I'm going to, at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing a exclusive pre-release reading event at Black Rock Books in Bridgeport, Connecticut, for my novel Heretic. And so I am telling people about it. It's not a huge store, but I know we have some people coming by, and I would love to see you stop by, you and your significant other if you wish. 5:30 on a Sunday, but because it's 5:30, hopefully it means, on 5:30, hopefully that means that it wouldn't be too late for you to get back or whatever. So Lotwook is a Connecticut resident, as am I, so that's why I'm mentioning it. Oh, cool, Echo. Your outdated stuff works miracles? Okay, good. That's good. Yeah. It's nice to know that military power can be used for some positive good on some rare occasion. You know? Yeah. All right, let me find the, see if we can get a box. People, when I am doing this thing, they usually come by and they kind of they're like, is it okay to ask questions? But they see that I'm talking and they're like, maybe we shouldn't interrupt him with stuff and the things. Swing by. Everyone except Mr. Sticker. Yeah. Well, there was the guy who came up to me and said, I don't mean to interrupt. But he could see I'm talking to somebody. My original waitress has disappeared, so... I just want to, can I just get a box for this and the check? Yeah, thanks. We just had a we just had a tea or coffee heating spill incident over at the table here. Hey, Polar. How you doing, Polar? What's up, man? Welcome. How you been? Welcome to the breakfast convo, the breakfast club. That's true. That's true.
Oh no! I'll be right with you guys here.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
It's like Schrodinger's waitress, right? Like, is the person there? Are they not there? Okay. All right. So, please pay at your table. All right, hang on a second. Yeah, it's good to see you. I hope all is well, man. Hello. Yeah, I will be on tonight, this evening, with some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and talking about the schedule for June. It's not July yet, for June. But I'm doing an impromptu stream now. So. It's been a week. Uh-oh. That sounds like not a great week. Am I able to pay you?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks. So that sucks, dude. I hope it wasn't like, that sounds like it's been a week. I hope it's not one of those deals. The type of week. I hope it's more the or the or not the, you know what I mean? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh no. Oh, that sucks. I have been there, and those are never fun. Alright, let's see. We're going to go with Close that.
Probably fully cracked too.
Oh my goodness. You hurt your back on Memorial Day weekend. Still recovering on loopy drugs. How did you, if it's not a secret, how'd you hurt your back, Lotwook? The heck's up with that? People are not supposed to be hurting your backs. Oh, carrying soil bags? Oh, yeah. It's like when you throw your back out doing something where you're like, you didn't even get a good use out of it. Like, I threw out my back saving an infant from certain death. Like, you can feel good about that, but you're like, I threw out my back because I turned my head too quickly in the shower or something dumb. You're like, oh, great. And then you want to tell anybody, you're like, did you hurt your back? You're like, I mean, sort of. And you're like in agony, you know, but you're like, because if they're like, what happened? You're like, not interesting thing. Getting some earth boxes going. Yeah. Once her back, I'm gonna say, yeah, like, and it's one of those things like when you do it, it's such a silly non-thing that you're like, I can't believe that just happened, and so you're like annoyed at yourself. You're like, I'm in pain. Also, I'm dumb. Like, what? You just, yeah. Oh no, Echo. I'm sure that she's seen worse though, like weirder situations, you know. Yeah, feel better about that, Lockbook. All right, chat. Let's go get us some tea. Let's go get some tea in the cafe. It is not raining outside yet, so that means that we have half a chance of making it there. Okay. Alright. There you go, chat. Slowly getting better each day, yeah.
Yes, we love it. I love you.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that, like, it's one of those things that it also is it's kind of a hidden injury, right? Like, everybody says it's a hidden injury in the sense that, you know, you look at someone and you're not going to know necessarily if they threw out their back except by the way that they act. So that's why sometimes people are like, oh, it's such a lame injury. And you're like, no. Like, when you throw out your back, and I'm tall, right? So I've had it happen a couple times, at least. When you throw out your back, it affects every part of your body. You know, it seems obvious, but quite literally, the spine is the linchpin of the body. And just like, for people to just be like, it's not a big deal. You're like, really? Oh, sure. No question. I mean, listen, they have done all this research now that demonstrates that even in like, that demonstrates that even with all of the like gut health and stuff like that, a lot of, you know, irritable bowel syndrome is partly connected to mental concerns. It's literally the case that your heart experiences depression and stress and trauma, not just the mind. The brain is the sort of clearinghouse for this stuff, but the actual center emotionally of a lot of aspects of our body are way misunderstood and underestimated. So, and that includes the back. Everyone just thinks about my head hurts or whatever and don't think about the other stuff. Yep. Right, now you got, yeah, see, now I'm a side sleeper. So if I sleep on my back starts to hurt a lot. Look. But my whole life I've been a side sleeper. All right, let's go get us. Here we are at Jack's Let's go get us some tea. Hello. Good, thanks. Let's see. Can I get, please, can I get just like an English breakfast tea? And just like a small is fine. We can do that. Yeah, 2% if you have it. Be great. Thank you very much. Just waiting for our tea, chat. Waiting for our tea. Full English breakfast. Yes, different kind of thing. Thank you. No, it is this kind of tea. It is this tea, specifically. There you go. That kind of tea. When you order tea, they make something. Well, yeah, I mean, that's why, like, for example, my wife, my Mrs. Arv, her favorite kind of tea is Earl Grey, as in Captain Picard, Earl Grey, hot. My favorite tea is English breakfast tea. Irish breakfast is also good. A lot of people love herbal teas. So I'd say a normal tea is like a black tea, Echo. Like if you just ask for tea, and at least in America, a lot of times you're going to get like a generic thing like Lipton, you know, which is not a tea, it's just a brand. But it's basically like a black tea, you know. So I like green tea, yeah, with honey. Yeah, like, and I like sometimes, like I like hibiscus can be good sometimes in certain cases, but I like, but I do like black teas. I like iced tea. I used to be like not a coffee guy at all, but I do like iced coffee now, so sometimes that way. Lipton Yellow Label. Yeah, it's just that's just like the default tea, and I think that or Earl Grey. I don't know which is the most popular, but it's probably Earl Grey. I mean, if it's not Lipton, it's probably Earl Grey, quite honestly. So. That hat is not straight. Okay. You buy the fruit stuff and drink it a lot in the winter? Yeah. It's good for you. All teas are good for you. Well, no, eating out can get expensive. I'm doing it here because, because I'm not anywhere close to home, so I needed to go somewhere to grab some food. But no, I wouldn't say that. It's not super cheap to do it. There are some places that are cheaper than others, obviously, and some people don't like to cook and they eat out all the time, but then they have a huge expense for food. We eat at home quite a bit, but I would say that I eat out probably once to twice a week, maybe. So if you have whatever that is, whatever that works out to, like you have 3 meals a day theoretically, so if you have 21 meals, probably 1 to 2 of those we eat out because of travel or wherever we happen to be, so that's why. And as far as the place to have your tea is concerned, like I could have just gotten a tea from the diner, but I like the vibe of this place. It's kind of like it's first of all, it's closer to the place where my car's getting fixed, but also I don't know, I just like the vibe of it. I like cafes. This is a writing thing, chat, I have to say. A lot of writers like cafes because writing can be a very isolating activity, And so even if you don't talk to anyone in the cafe, just being around people is often really helpful. You know, it's probably cliched, but I can write in all kinds of different places, and I have, but I do like writing in cafes sometimes. Yeah, diners are cheaper. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and a lot of the places, like a lot of the map programs now, have a general cost for things, so you can tell how much it is before you go somewhere. Like sometimes, some places are outrageous. And if you go to diners in like the Upper West Side of Manhattan, that is not cheap. But diners where I am in Southern Connecticut, that's not crazy. Yeah. But no, long term, if you do nothing but eat out, you will go bankrupt pretty quickly. Like, you know, you can't do that. Grocery costs were up for a while too, but those have started to drop here now. So, but for a while, like basic staples like, you know, eggs and milk and like some basic stuff, flour, was priced up, and that's begun to drop back down, fortunately. Yeah, and I was thinking about what you said, Echo, about COVID. It's true that's like, now that the pandemic is largely, I understand, not completely, but now that it is, the worst effects of it anyway are largely past, it's like eating out is now a thing again, in a way that it was not. You know, all of those places they built in New York, which had the outside like seating and stuff, they still have some outside seating now because of it being summer, but all of the areas they had that were basically like closed-in facilities, those things are starting to go by the wayside because they kind of get in the way of people walking by. You know, like you can't move anywhere because you've got these outside facilities. So, hey, Live Suing. Hello, good morning. Some new shorts from made by Live Suing going up on my channel later today, by the way, chat. Going up, one scheduled to go up in about an hour and 20 minutes. And also a new Gen GM's one just dropped last night, or yesterday I should say, about my favorite edition of D&D. So Live Suing is doing great work. Prices going down in this economy? Yeah. There we go. Oh. What? Oh, it's my tea. Scale. The tea. Bum, bum, bum. The tea. Bum, 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 bum. Ginormous tea. When you visited your brother in New York City in September, the food was great. But you don't remember where, huh, Polar? There's some very good food in New York. It's just that it's very, like... Oh, no, it's not what I meant to do. It's not what I meant to do. Okay, good. I'm going to show off the legs in new shorts. I see how it is. No, there's some very good food in New York City. There's also some very pricey food in New York City. One of the nice things about moving to where I moved to is that it's cheaper. Like, living in New York is expensive. It's expensive. You treated you to some nice places? Nice. Yep. I have played shows on Bleecker Street and Houston. I played a show on Kenny's Castaways in that area. I played at the Bitter End a couple times in that area. Yes, that's true. No, there's some like ungodly amount of percentage of there's some ungodly percentage of pizzerias, like per capita. You know, pizzerias relative to the number of people. All right, I'm going to bring my tea bag over. Be right back. Yeah, no, definitely do that, Polar, for sure. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. I have returned with my mixed tea. Yep, some very good places to eat in New York City. But although I have to say there are some things that I think New York is overrated in food-wise. So one of the examples of that is bagels. So if you talk to people, they would tell you that bagels are New York bagels are where it's at. I think where I live in Southern Connecticut, there are a couple of shops that have better bagels than almost any other kind of bagel I got when I was in New York. There were one or two bagel shops in New York that were really good, but a lot of bagel shops that were very average, like very, very average. So if you listen to people, they would tell you that, like, oh my God, New York bagels, meh, you know. So there's some things that New York is also overrated in. All right, so I'm curious, imaginary. What would you argue is like the Ukrainian food export? Like if you were to say the food thing that comes from Ukraine, what's the thing that you would say, this is what we, you know, if you want to know like the cultural game, food game for Ukraine, what is it? An echo, is it fish for Norway? And a particular kind of fish? And Lotwook, what do you think Connecticut's is? I was just thinking about this, like what's Connecticut's food game? Like there's a lot of good different kinds of food in Connecticut, but I don't know that we have one. Pizza? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But it feels like, that feels so like an easy call. But yeah, I guess you're right though. Okay. Salmon, yeah. I love me some salmon. Yes, now that's, yeah. Actually, like Nardelli's, I'm not saying they're the best one, but I'm saying like that style of sub. Yeah, that's a good call. That's true. Fishing season's begun in my hometown. Actually, let me see. So, who else do I have here? Effect Life. What's the Belgian? The sort of the joke is always like Belgian chocolate is the big export. Is that what you think it is? Like, what is the Belgian food that you're like, this is the thing that is what makes Belgium? Probably waffles. See, I don't know. Yeah, you can hear the barista in the back. People are coming in with the different brews that they want to do. Yeah, we had some waffles earlier today, live sewing, before you came on. You need to pique my Tolkienism, huh? Yes, that's true. Connecticut has a lot of good ice cream shops. That is true. Very good ice cream game. Pierogi and borscht. Certain stewed dish they make, ceramic pot full of chopped meats and vegetables and meat stewed in an oven a long time, pierogi and borscht. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, so something like, so that sounds almost more like, it sounds like Polish vaguely as well. Is that fair to say? There are some similarities with Polish cuisine? Gallendale. Are there any characters, locations, anything? Gallendale. Ooh. Nothing is coming. Yeah, the only one I would have thought of would have been Galadriel, but I don't think. I don't know. That sounds like a Silmarillion-based thing to me, Echo. If that's actually a thing, I would say that it would be more Silmarillion is likely where you'd find it. More details about it would be my guess. Sorry. Yeah. Gallandil. This is not ringing a bell. All right, let's see. I don't know if Triffid. What about Atlantic? What would you say about Atlantic coast, Atlantic Ocean coast, United States? Are we talking like crabs would be the top thing? Like, what's the food product if Triffid's around? I got you. That makes sense, imaginary, yeah. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Maine lobster, well-flued oysters. Yeah, oysters I can see. The big thing in Maryland is crabs. But the problem is, I feel like I had really good crab cakes like twice. Most of the time I have crab cakes and I'm disappointed. And when I was down in Baltimore, I've been down in Baltimore a number of times, but like more, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I was looking once and I'm like, the crab cakes were not great. Like something about the spices and the flavoring wasn't great. So you have to kind of pick and choose. As far as lobster is concerned, yeah, lobster can be quite good if it's done the right way. Flounder, oysters, clams, Eastern North Carolina barbecue, fried chicken and biscuits. Oh yeah, fried chicken and biscuits. Yes, okay. Crabs are in there, but not an identifying factor. And then, but sweet tea is not that far north, right? Like sweet tea is more of a thing that's more of a deal farther south, right? Sweet tea, by the way, Chet, in case you don't know, is basically like iced tea, but ridiculously sweet. Like sweet tea is not they call it haha sweet. No, like sweet tea is, we will pump sugar into your veins. Take 3 large pixie sticks. Take the pixie sticks, drain them in your mouth, then swish with water. Like, I don't understand how your teeth don't immediately rot out of your head having sweet tea. Like, it's ridiculous. Have sweet tea, 300% sugar for the day. Like, it's so sweet. It's delicious, but it's too sweet. I like ice cream. I like certain sweet things. I like iced tea. I can't go that sweet. It's so sweet. Yeah, it's like a hummingbird. Well, of course it's delicious. It's sugar being hit right in your veins. I can't. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Makes your teeth hurt. It's so sweet. I used to, when I was in college, I used to drink Arizona iced tea. And then one day, I ended up looking at like the back of the bottle. Arizona iced tea is like, it's an absurd amount of sugar. It's ridiculous how much sugar it uses. And sugar is a lot worse for you than other things. Sugar is considerably worse for you than fat. Sugar creates inflammation and all that. So little sugar is fine. But oh my God. But having said that, sweet tea is one of those things that like, you want to have it once, to say you had it, but then you need to recover for several days. No, for sure, Polar, for sure. And I'm being facetious, obviously. I mean, a little bit, but oh my gosh, is it sweet. The worst is when you get like an iced tea made, but it's not mixed super well. So it's like bitter, and then you get down to like the last fifth, and all of a sudden you take like a sip from the straw, and it's just like sweet. Like all of a sudden all of the sugar is concentrated in one sip from your straw. Woo. Yeah. Oh man, I was like, Arizona iced tea is so good. And I'm like, it ought to be. No, thank you. Oh, man. No, I want a nicely mixed, amount. When I get like Starbucks, I usually try to I cut in half usually the amount of pumps that they put in, and that usually works out pretty well. You can kind of train yourself off of sugar so that you have just a little bit. Same thing with salt, by the way. Some people are like way over obsessed with salt, and I never put salt on anything pretty much. I had a really salty piece of fish yesterday. Actually, it was super salty. So I have not very much salt, and I'm increasingly getting less and less and less sugar. And you can train yourself to sort of a little bit less, which doesn't mean you have to get rid of it altogether. Just, take it easy. Because so many places do sugar. Like, for example, I didn't realize this, but apparently in England, they don't really add sugar to bread. And in America, a lot of bread has sugar. Like, they add sugar to bread, and people are like, why are you adding sugar to bread? And I'm like, that's a good question. We have a sweet tooth. Precisely. But if you're going to eat an entire bar of chocolate, if it's dark chocolate, like, dark chocolate's actually good for you, right? But the people are like, I like dark chocolate if you put tons of sugar in it. And you're like, okay. Yeah, exactly, Polar. They add the sugar while it's hot, so you have more sugar in it. That's right. Man, if I look at someone like, I used to have a Fribble milkshake at Friendly's, and the Fribbles were these big, like it was the size of basically water bottle size of a shake. And I was like, oh, so good. It was good when I was like, 9, 10, 11 years old. Man, I can't with that much anymore. And dark chocolate, I have gotten more and more to like dark chocolate as I get older. I still don't like super, super bitter dark chocolate, but good dark chocolate is good. And very good for you. Dark chocolate actually is very high in antioxidants. Both dark chocolate and blueberries are among the highest antioxidant foods. So dark chocolate is actually good for you. Which doesn't mean that you should be grabbing 3 Bourneville dark chocolate bars, but Yeah. All those in dark chocolate, once you start liking those, you're an adult. Yeah. That's true. I sometimes wonder if we do the whole it's an adult taste. If it's an adult taste because you're trying to keep kids from having it, you know what I mean? You were at the pharmacy yesterday, rewarded half-hour wait in line with a Snickers bar. Comes in 2 pieces, really? I didn't know it came in 2 pieces. I thought it was one big bar. Only thing I thought of that comes, isn't it was it Mounds or Baby Ruth that has the several segments? Man. Yeah, it used to be one big bar. Hot teas with jasmine. Oh, that's cool. Mounds, yeah. I was never a Mounds guy because I didn't love coconut really. So I was always like, it's okay, but. How do you stuff green olives with garlic, Life Suing? It's because the olives aren't even big enough, are they? There's not a lot of room to stuff them, is there? I mean, that sounds delicious, but... Your sister used to work in the Mounds and Almond Joy factory in Naugatuck, really? That's awesome. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Almond Joy has nuts, Mounds don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Can't believe I remember that entire commercial. That's a good thing to keep in my brain. Definitely. Let me let other things out of the brain, but let's put that commercial right up at the top of the filing system. That's a great idea. So in 2020, you found out Snickers can have peanut butter in it. Well, yeah, right? Isn't it like chocolate, caramel, peanut butter, and peanuts? Right? Isn't that a Snickers? I don't have Snickers that much because it's so chewy. There are peanuts in it. It's so super chewy that I don't usually have Snickers. So. But you're saying peanut butter? The olive capital of California. No kidding. They have an option of peanut butter filling. No kidding. So the thing is, I like olive oil. I don't really like olives very much, like by itself, but I do like olive oil. I guess it's because it's a strong flavor with olive oil, but I don't mind olive oil. But olives, though, is a whole different thing. So there's a peanut butter Snickers. Interesting. I do like peanut butter, yeah. I also like cashew butter. Underrated butter. Some people have sunflower butter. My daughter likes sunflower butter. The cashew butter is pretty good. Yeah. I think it's the flavor. It's as you say, a very strong flavor. So oh yeah, apple butter is good. But cashew butter, yep. You have to be careful though. Cashews actually in general, cashews have to be harvested the right way. They are poisonous. They're toxic if they don't get harvested the right way, so you have to be careful with it. But yeah, cashew butter is quite good. Any of those nut butters can be good for you in moderation. Just being careful about how you do them, so. But the thing is, whenever I used to have, like, as a kid, if they ever had, like, a mixed nuts thing, I was always like, cashews and peanuts. Like, this is what I want. And, like, almonds are okay. They had those big, terrible nuts. Do you know in the mixed nuts, they always have that one big, like, large nut that you're like, what is this thing? It has this weird, rough texture. And it was always one of those ones that I'm like, tastes like, kind of like a water chestnut, but it wasn't. No, not a walnut. Although walnuts are meh also, but no, it was not walnut. It was that other weird nut. It might have been a Brazil nut, but it was big. It's a big nut of the group. There's like almond, peanut, cashew, walnut, and then there's like one other kind, I think. Maybe Brazil. I don't know if it's a Brazil nut. Macadamia. I know it was not pistachio. I know that. It was not pistachio. Macadamia. Might have been? No, it's like a rough, it's like a large sort of rough surface of the inside nut. Well, but they're like bumpy though. Like they're not like jagged. Pecan. Maybe? I don't think so. No, because I've had, like, my wife loves pecan pie. So I don't think it's that. It's not pecan. It's that. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's like this other weird nut. Maybe it is macadamia, but I thought I remembered it being more, like, bumpy. I don't know. It was a nut that I didn't like. Let me put it that way. Okay? Peanuts, yes. No, not walnuts. Walnuts are fine. Not my favorite kind of nut, but sign me up for peanuts, cashews, a little bit of almonds. Sunflower seeds are okay, but those are seeds, not nuts, and I don't know. You have to have so many of them that I'm not sure. But basically, like nut-wise, chill nuts. Oh, like chili nuts? No, those don't show up in mixed nuts. Like, mixed nuts usually have, like, 5 different kinds of nuts, and I'm not remembering what the name of. It was always the one that I ate it. I was always like, oh, God, I wish I hadn't had that nut. And I can't remember what it was. It's a very troubling conversation in many ways. This is one of those, let's make sure we take this in context conversations, okay? Or are you nut into it? This is just one of those conversations that if I was having this conversation in an Eberron game, this is what Tren would be doing. Because he would have thought of like 3 inappropriate jokes by now. Roasted cashew and salted roasted almonds. Yes, I do like the roasted stuff. It's good stuff. Right, Live? You know what I'm talking about. He'd be like, aha. Yeah, thinking up appropriate. Yeah, but I mean, Trent is one of those people who always keeps you on your toes because you're always like, oh yeah, this thing that you're doing. Always. It's an important role to play. Yeah, he's funny. Yeah, there are a lot of bad, inappropriate jokes. These jokes are usually good. And they're not, they don't rise to the highest form of humor, which is, of course, the pun, as we all know. That's the thing that matters the most. I say that usually to irritate particular people. If Rising Tides were here, it'd just be like, boo, boo. Pecan? But the thing is, though, I feel like the nut is bigger, though, than a pecan is. Polar, I think. Yeah. No, he's a good guy, Trent. Still have not met him in person. It's smooth. Oh, okay. Yeah, I still have not met him in person, but hopefully sooner rather than later.
So the shared looks the same.
I mean, I'm solving one of those problems of not meeting people, my players, in August when I'm going to be meeting a lot of the European players and hopefully viewers and stuff like that. So that'll be cool. But then getting a chance to meet some of my in-person players. I've met Brandon in person, I've met Marie in person, Jen in person, John in person. I haven't met Trent.
This isn't a great picture, but that's
I have met
yeah, but that's her.
Toya in person, Zach obviously in person, Johnny in person, Kat in person. I have not met Darcy or in person. I have met Preemie in person. I haven't met Rhiannon in person. So it's mostly the Europeans and then Tren. I've met Amal and Brad. I haven't met Tari in person either. So Tari is another person that I need to meet. Hopefully that'll happen this August. Speaking of someone that I'm going to meet for the first time in person in August, hopefully. Yeah, that's a good call, actually. Thank you, Echo. Yeah, that GoFundMe there is to support Tren, who's trying to raise enough money to build an isolation booth, like a sound booth, which will mean that he can then record stuff at any time rather than having to do it at like crazy hours at night or whatever and screw up his sleep schedule constantly. So that is one thing that would be super helpful to him to be able to do that. So yes, can recommend that one. It's nice to have an isolation booth just socially. I was thinking about the Mirror Mirror Star Trek episode. It's like, the agony booth is a most effective form of discipline. Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky in that I have an office now, which also is a recording studio, basically, which has that kind of sound isolation. It's up. It's basically the former attic. It's up by itself. It's got a door at the bottom of the hall. If the kids are running around, especially my son, running around like playing and yelling, there's noise, but otherwise it's not fine. Otherwise it's not. There's no noise up there. So I'm very lucky. But for people who are in areas where, like with Tren, with the garbage trucks at different times and the birds and all that stuff. The second and current boss of their pugilism penguin army. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to meet the GOG stream team head. That's true. Going to meet Pyron Jade. Very excited for all those people. Very excited to meet all of them. It's going to be a great group, and especially now that we have the Buy the Dice Roll thing, it's going to be pretty slick. Buy the Dice Roll, incidentally, this coming Tuesday, chat, is going to be our first Ghosts of Saltmarsh session since we made the announcement, since we switched over. We are going to have a couple surprises for you, so you'll definitely want to be here for that. And might also want to be around for some surprises regarding a new player entering the mix. Not new to GOG or, in fact, Tabletop, but new to Saltmarsh. So, I mean, they ended up in the garbage trucks, I think is what happened, Classic Horror. That's my guess. Which is the 11th of June. Oh, speaking of that, by the way, next Tuesday on my channel is D&D with viewers. So it's a special, for me, daytime edition of D&D with viewers. So if you folks who watch me during the day are interested in playing D&D with me, and you can't stay up for my night streams for those, definitely mark your calendars. Next Tuesday, around noon Eastern, will be some D&D with viewers as we do a cool, very short adventure. So it's going to be very short, this adventure. So probably pre-gen characters, very short, so that I can fit it in. So yeah, definitely mark your calendars for that. Yeah, not much I can do about that, Classic Art. It makes it at least that some people can actually, participate instead of having to just watch it. So, yes, pre-gen like the usual bunch. That's right, Echo. I don't know yet what level though. I don't know if it's going to be level 1, 2, or 3. I have to think about that over the weekend about what I'm going to actually run on Tuesday. I don't know yet. I'm going to try to make it shorter than usual because I can't run over, more than like 15, 30 minutes. Like, I have a hard out at 3:30, so if I start at noon to 12:15, I want to be like free and clear by 3:15. So, oh, it's the racing class. Okay. That'll be good. That will be good. I saw this game, by the way, which I may have mentioned. I think someone brought it up on... I can't remember if it was on my channel. Oh, I am in a cafe. I'm in that cafe, Jack's Coffee. Or actually, no, the name of the cafe is Greenology. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's not Jack's Cafe. It's a little confusing. They serve Jack's Coffee, but they are actually called Greenology. My fault. They don't actually. They don't have a sign up on the above the place. They have a carpet sign. Anyway, I was watching. Someone brought this game up the other day. Scald Against the Black Priory, I think is the name of the game. Or Scald Against the Priory, something like that. I liked the look of that game a lot. It has two things that I'm not wild about, which is it has very pixely retro art, which is not my favorite kind of art, and it has some Lovecraftian stuff, and I don't love, cosmic horror stuff. But other than that, it reminds me a lot of a cross between the Gold Box games and the Ultima games, like Ultima 3, 4, 5, etc. So I think it looks pretty cool. And I'm seriously considering giving it a try after we finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm thinking about it. Because I'm having a good time with Black Geyser on GOG, so I probably wouldn't save it for GOG, but so we'll see. I have not played Unusual Findings. It is fun. I mean, some of the early ones are a little, tiresome, but I loved Ultima 7, Black Gate. I loved Serpent Isle, which was the follow-up to that. Ultima 8 was too buggy when I tried to play it, and then Ultima Underworld is one of my favorite games ever. Underworld 1 and 2 are both great games. Although those are very different in feel. I really like the gold box games. I was playing the one gold box game, and then it basically broke. The save got corrupted, and then I kind of lost interest because I was like, I've won it before, but on stream I was doing this. But I still play around with the idea of trying like Curse of the Azure Bonds or something like that. But I might want to try this Skulls game. It looked pretty cool to me. According to Ash Said Hi, who is a streamer on Twitch and is one of my fellow GOG streamers, she thinks it's got a great story, and I watched her play maybe a half hour of it, and I thought it was interesting. It looked neat to me. Very retro in feel, super retro.
Oh no, it's not.
Yeah, she's a Twitch ambassador, yeah. I mean, she's very nice. She's a really nice person. I tried to get her a couple times to play D&D, but she's always like, oh, and I just think she's too busy. But every so often I've been like, hey, want to join the D&D crew, So. Yep. Those were so good, Classic Horror. I really like the gold box games. Scald is a good homage, retro, almost text adventure. Right, exactly. It just released. Right. That's why I think it'll be good to play it in a few weeks when some of the hype has died down and people are still interested in looking at it. It looked cool to me. Oh no, live suing. Now, live, you're a good person. You've done a great job with the shorts. But if you like wizardry, oh, no, sob. I have a clip on my highlight on my channel about my wizardry rant. I can't. I hate wizardry with the passion, with the white-hot intensity of 1,000 Suns. Oh God. And I played Wizardry 8. I think it was Nonstop who nominated that. And when I played Wizardry 8, and I'm like, that'll be enough of that. My experience with Wizardry, especially the first couple with Wizardry, was maybe the most annoying, frustrating, pointless games I've ever played. Now, Bard's Tale, I did play Bard's Tale 4, and I played and won it. Bard's Tale 4 had some pacing problems, but I liked a lot about Bard's Tale 4. And I played the original Bard's Tale back in the day. It was fun. But Wizardry, But no, it's totally fine. Mystery of the Druids, it was a joke on GOG for a while. It was like a horrible game. Anyway, live suing, I know you know that I'm mostly being facetious. You obviously can like whatever you want. I just can't stand wizardry myself. I'm just like, no thanks. Community game nominations. I have to check the schedule, ClassScore. I think because with the Patreon Field Game of the Month this month is not going to be on a Tuesday because we have last Tuesday was this Tuesday 2 days ago was the Gamebook Illustration stream. Coming Tuesday is going to be this coming Tuesday is I don't remember what we're doing this coming Tuesday. Oh no, D&D with viewers. D&D with viewers. The week after that is going to be the cover reveal event for Heretic and Athos. And then the week after that is Beowulf. So Tuesdays we're not going to have available for a Patreon Field Game this month, just the way things worked out. So instead we're going to move that to like a Thursday. Yeah, we all like what we like. Thursday. That's right. So Thursday. So that means that the nominations are going to start. It might be I don't think Thursday is when the Patreon game is, Echo. I think nominations Oh, you're asking when do nominations start? Nominations, I think, yeah, that may be right. Because I don't think I'm playing the Patreon game next Thursday. But, oh no, really? Yeah, because of all the twisters? Oh, geez, tripping. But you came through okay, right? Ish? Right, 2 weeks, yeah. That sounds right. So nominations, right, yeah. 3 weeks, right. 2 weeks from now are nominations. Or I should say next week is nominations, rather. Week after that's final vote. Week after that I play it. So now be aware. Now remember though, Classic War, remember that my point and click, like, I have very narrow window of point and click stuff. Point and click adventure stuff I don't love usually. It depends on the game. The last point and click that we did, which was Kathy Rain, was not bad. I didn't mind that actually. But a lot of point and click stuff gets annoying to me, so yeah. I played Toonstruck. I played Toonstruck because Tren kept nominating it, and I did play and win it. But I found somewhat frustrating too. You need the power company to cut the limbs hanging off power phone internet lines. Oh, geez, tripping. No, that's cool. That's cool, Classic War. Jeez, tripping. That sounds intense. But the house came through okay, though? The house was alright? I mean, Toonstruck has two good things, has one major thing going for it, and that is that it has Christopher Lloyd in it, so it's automatically pretty good. Minor roof damage. Okay. Earthworms. Is Earthworms the, is that like Lemming? What is Earthworms again? Yeah, I keep forgetting that. It does have Dom DeLuise, who is a distant cousin of mine. Oh my gosh, Trippin', yeah. I'm not familiar with that one at all, except that I remember you mentioned it before live. Yeah. I remember you mentioning this last week, or whatever we talked about it last. It's a good setup. Objective. And when you solve the crime, Classic Or, you become enlightened. Good times, good times. Yakuza. I've watched a lot of Yakuza being played on and off. It's such a silly game. I mean, the subject matter is serious, I guess, but it doesn't ever feel serious to me. I mean, pocket circuit racing, I don't know about that. I mostly see it as a guy beating people up and then randomly on the street, and then a lot of cutscenes. You can play Outrun on that game? Really? Oh man, back in the day. That's pretty cool. I saw someone the other day playing old school Virtua Fighter. I mean, really old school. I hadn't thought about Virtua Fighter in a long time. That's cool. Well, yeah, probably because most of those games now you can play on like toasters, given current technology. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, the old claw grappling boxes. It was so polygonal, though. It was funny live streaming because you compare it to like games that then blew people away. So Street Fighter was obviously the big one that had great mechanics and everything. Sorry. But the game that I remember being the most polygons were the future. The game that I remember being the most that blew my mind at that time was Killer Instinct. Man, when I was in college and I was playing Killer Instinct, and that was like 93, 94, Killer Instinct was crazy. It just felt so snappy and like swift and like just yeah, exactly, like Ultra Combo, Saberwolf, Glacius. Oh God, who was the oh man, Saberwolf was my favorite, but the home versions were never as good. Saberwolf was awesome. There was, who was the one that had the Frigor, the robot. Killer Instinct is the one of the clay dinos. It had like Glacius. It had King Thunder. What was the one that was the it was like a robot that had like this big claw. This robot with this claw. And he looked like a knight. A little bit like a knight. He had like a tuft on the back of his head. Can't remember. Oh, he was panicking about getting a climbing rack? Effect Life, the only thing you missed is I was asking everybody about what they thought their country's go-to food was. Like if they were to say, this is the food you need to get, he wasn't panicking. This is the food you need to get if you want to know what it's like to be, X nationality. So what is the case for Belgium? This one? Oh no, this is like weathered. I haven't gone through a construction site. It's designed to have this look, I think. Man, I can't remember the name of the robot in Killer Instinct. There was King Thunder, there was Saberwolf, there was Glacius, there was the woman with the two batons, they're not nunchucks. What, the two sticks? Bow sticks? No. Yep, 94. Orchid, that's it, Orchid, yep. Who had a very interesting way of killing people. Yeah, like a food that you see, for me, I would think classic or that it would be like certain kinds of like sausages or something like that would be the big thing I would think about with Germany. Like Germany's meat game is really good. But yeah, so there were those. I can't remember. Fulgor? I'm thinking like I'm getting it mixed up in my head with Kilgore and like, is it Fulgor? Fulgor. That's who it was. That guy was badass. Saberwolf was amazing. If good Saberwolf players, which I was always like an okay Saberwolf player, good Saberwolf players, man, you did not want to mess with those people. Cinder was great too. Yes, Cinder was also awesome. Yep. That's right. For me it was Saberwolf, Cinder, and Fulgor were my three favorites. Yeah, well no, not so much that Effect Life. I mean, I guess I guess it's more like if you were going to show off a certain kind of food, like, you know, in Chicago it might be pizza, right? Would be like the food you show to people. And in Maine it might be lobster, right? Or Triffid was talking about like fried chicken and waffles in, you know, the Atlantic coast, yeah, certain areas. Rip Tour. Yeah, Rip Tour was always weird. I always thought Rip Tour was kind of slow, but I've seen really good Rip Tour players. But Sabre Wolf had that like slash, jump, sweep, spin that you could look like real slick. Combo breaker. Killer combo. That dude had the voice. Combo. Kaspatzen. Bad for the body, good for the soul, as long as you like cheese. So it's basically just cheese. Yeah. I do note, live suing, that you chose Sabre Wolf. That seems to fit based on what you and Tren have, how you and Tren know each other. It seems to fit. Yeah, the Ultra 64. Yeah, didn't I say that? Did I say waffles? Sorry, yeah, fried chicken and biscuits. My bad. Fried chicken and biscuits, yeah. So that's what I was thinking of. And Lotwook and I, who are Connecticut residents, we decided that it probably is subs. We're probably looking at subs. Like, sub sandwiches, Connecticut sub sandwich game is pretty slick. Also, we are very good on ice cream. Subs and ice cream. Those are two big ones from Connecticut. We also supposedly are where we, like, New Haven is supposedly, according to the Library of Congress, where the hamburger was invented. Don't know. Julius Levis, a thick meal, soup with potatoes, beef, pepper, carrot, and the veggies usually spicy. Okay. I always liked Spätzle, which I think is Hungarian. Or, yeah, I think it's Hungarian. Spätzle is really good. Yeah, Hamburg came from Hamburg, Germany. Oh, wow, Tori Amos. Wow. I've talked about this before, but I've seen two concerts with Tori Amos. One was at the University of Connecticut in their big auditorium, seats 10,000 people. And the other one was at the old New Haven Coliseum that seated like 18,000 people. And the Coliseum was best known for having like hosting local hockey games. It was this kind of cavernous place. Tori Amos is just herself and like two pianos playing. One of the most compelling concerts I've ever been to. You could hear a pin drop, like just utterly compelling. She just has this charisma that just draws you in. Incredible performer. I was super impressed with Tori Amos both times I saw her because people were just like, it was just totally mesmerizing. Yeah, I don't know. My wife likes Tori Amos a lot too, but that's more Austrian. Okay. Maybe I'm thinking about it as Austrian then. I sort of have it in my mind as Austrian or Hungarian. Not that Austria and Hungary have ever been connected in any way, as you know, Effect Life. I mean, who would ever put those two countries together? Belgian fries with a beef stew made with brown beer would be a classic. Ah. So is that friet stoofvlees? Is that what that would be? Friet stoofvlees? I have not planned my British food yet, no. I'm looking forward to having a lot of tea. I don't mean just drinking the tea. I mean actual tea, the meal in the UK meal. Chicken paprika. Yeah, okay. Yep. I can see that. Friet stoofvlees. Is it friet or friet? So is it two syllables or one, basically? Friet or friet? Frite. Okay, that makes sense. That's like pommes frites as well. Okay, and then stoofvlees. So frite, stoofvlees. Is it stoof? Like stoof, stoof, or stuff? Stew or stuff? Oh, so it's like stoofvlees. Okay, so would it be friet stoofvlees? Like that? Watch, I'm going to learn how to do this, then I'm going to go to the UK. I'm going to see friet stoofvlees, and they're going to look at me like, "Oh, governor, you want a scone or not?" Because that's totally what the British think they sound like. Yes, I had heard that, Classic Ore, and I am very excited for that. Sign me up for awesome Indian food. I can put it in Google Translate. Well, yeah, but the thing is I can't do it now when I'm on my phone and I'm streaming, or I'm going to mess up the stream. Plus, I'm trying to learn from, hopefully, Classic Ore, if I can get stream capability there, yeah. The E sound. Yeah, that's true. It's probably one of those like the stoof fleece. I was there's a person that I'm going to be seeing in a couple of weeks. Fles, like fles, fles. So it'd be friet stoof fles. Oh no, how did I pronounce it the first time? Fleece. I think that's a good question. I think I just introduced them by their regular name. I think. Yeah. That'd be useful. So anyway, I would love to do that, Classic Ore, if we can. Apparently, I can I'm with AT&T, and it's not a big deal to actually use like cell signal when I'm over in the UK. But that will be definitely helpful without having to worry about where I am regarding like Wi-Fi when I'm streaming on the phone. Now, when I'm streaming like from my laptop, which is what I would be doing for the live D&D event, that I have to think about differently. The nice thing is that I'll have a bunch of people who know what the hell Twitch is there, so some of those folks should be good. I'm very excited for that. I really hope we have a good turnout. Even if we have like 20 people there, obviously we'll have a good time regardless. But I would love to get that theater packed. Because again, it's not a big theater. 110 people in that theater packed would be awesome if we can do that. So hopefully we have a couple months to get it promoted, and hopefully we'll get a lot of people there. Fleos, one of the other people that I'll be seeing is Fleos. No, I know, Echo. That's what I mean. That's why I'm trying to make sure that I have it all set, to work properly. So I will have my portable setup with me. And so actually, because it was on sale, I got a new portable monitor because my old extra monitor is a little erratic. It's like 5-6 years old, and it's a little erratic. It doesn't work perfectly with the power setup and whatever, and also requires this like kickstand, so it uses up more room. So this one that I got is a bigger monitor, but is only but does not require a kickstand. It has its own built-in kickstand, and it's also much better resolution. So we have my setup is my laptop, my Steam Deck if I'm playing PC stuff, but obviously for this I won't be doing PC stuff. It's capturing live video. I'll have my C900, my Logitech C900 webcam to capture, and then my Samsung Go mic for the audio. So, the mobile setup will be there. It'll be in pretty good shape. But yes. No, listen, I would love Classic Horror. Actually, one of the things that I might do is, if this works out, we might do something we might do something next time. We might do something next time in the like I want to do other events. We're going to be doing stuff online, obviously, but I would like to do other events. So whether that means that we get some of the UK folks to come over to like do an event in Canada near Fleos' neck of the woods, whether we do an event that takes place in Wales where Undeveloped Bruce and Saber are, whether we go over to Germany, which I know you'd be happy about, Classic Horror, because we have Pyre and Jade obviously over there. I definitely, or obviously America. I definitely want to do other events like this too. So that's right. Saber won't have to do Boobot. That's true. There will be no Boobot needed for this. Hey, someday, Echo, someday. Wales has amazing cider. They also have a badass flag. You know the other thing Wales has? It has a great flag. Freaking dragon. It has a flag with a dragon. Yes, my smartphone just rang, and I think it's my, I believe it is my, it has my, I think they're calling to let me know about my car. They have a heck of a language. Oh, this is what I was going to say, Lawfrey. Yeah, sorry. I started talking about this and then I got distracted. Lawfrey is an Icelandic singer, and so we're going to be seeing her in a couple weeks. But she was talking about no. Just waiting for the car to be maintained. Although I do have to head out here pretty soon. But she was talking about how nobody ever pronounces her name right, and she's just gotten used to it. It's not anyone's fault. It's because the sound doesn't exist in the same way. So Lawfre, it's actually like Lawfre is basically what it is. Lawfre, not Lawfree. But it's kind of like this so it's Lefre, like Lefre. And so, yeah, she was talking about that. Some old Icelandic, yeah. Let's see. Try Istoflees. So Friet Stofles. Friet Stofles. Like that. So if I said I would like some Friet Stofles, they won't be like, what are you saying? American. It'll be like the orcs treating the people, the main character in Dark Messiah Might and Magic, abomination, monster. That's what they're going to do. I'm going to say that. Could I have some Friet Stofles? Abomination. They'll understand, but maybe chuckle a bit. I'll just pretend to be mute, and I'll just hold up a bunch of signs. I'll be like, you're American, aren't you? I'm like, I'll just hold up the sign, and they'll look at it, and then they'll go, abomination. God. I should play Dark Messiah again. It's the greatest kicking simulator of all time. Shibboleths. Hey, Witch Kid. Yes, Dark Messiah Might and Magic. Isn't that what I said? I didn't say Dark Messiah Wizardry, did I? That would be terrible if I said that. Yeah, Dark Messiah Might and Magic. Solid game. Good to see you, Wenchkin. How you been, man? There's another place. I would not mind getting back down to Australia at some point. Doing an event in Australia would be pretty cool. I would have to rely on Wenchkin and Light and Passion and some others to rally the Australians. I don't know, Wenchkin. Do you think you could find like a small theater in Australia that would accommodate a live D&D event? And could we get more than like 2 people who would actually go watch that? Yeah, easy. But would there? I mean, would we be able to get more than a couple people to something like that if we made the tickets cheap? Oh, of course, you may mention other streamers. Sure, Imaginary. Thank you for asking first. Yeah. Oh, Fractal Mind Mike, right. People would also not be an issue. It's tempting. The 21 and a half hour flight is not tempting, to be perfectly honest. But the Australia was beautiful. I had a wonderful experience in Australia. And I was sick in Australia, and I still had a wonderful experience. It was great. It was also, I mean, like, I did exceedingly well in the World Debate Championships there. So we were on fire that whole tournament, and so that also helped my mood. But the country was beautiful. We did a cruise in the harbor in Sydney. It was beautiful, like, gorgeous. Australia was amazing. You know, I pronounce once you have access to Discord. Okay, sounds good. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Looking for a publisher, yes. Well, so I should mention about that. So I am currently seeking an agent, Imaginary Exponent, and I've gotten some some near misses. A couple where I went back and forth, where they requested fulls, and a couple where they passed, but barely passed. One in particular I went back and forth with, did revisions, and they were very close to taking me on as a client, and they finally passed, but they were like, please send us anything else you have because blah, blah, blah. So anyway, yes, so I am looking for an agent for my middle grade book, Winnie and Wormwood, which is, or publisher, I should say. But normally for the bigger publishers, you start with an agent and then you go to a publisher. But also publishers, yes, for something like that, because I have a lot of other books that I'm writing that I want to write and that I'm, in the midst of, or have things, but like this one that I'm going to be working on is called Shade and Shadow, which is an adult book, but the middle grade book that I have, I'm very proud of. I think it's a good book. I just need to get an agent to get us to a publisher, so yeah. Renee Sky on Twitch, accomplished Australian writer, was running a publishing team and knows about self-publishing. How big a publisher do you want? Well, I mean, so I've worked with small publishers quite a bit, Wenchkin. Obviously, I love Athos. Athos Arts is a small publisher. I've worked with multiple small presses over the years, and I've had a couple that were smaller imprints of larger presses. So, like Five Star, which published my first novel, they were an imprint of Gale Cengage. Gale Cengage is a very big publisher. I would like a publisher that's a decent size this time around, because the main thing that I really want is distribution. And distribution doesn't just mean, oh, you can order it from Amazon. Like, no kidding, you can order anything from Amazon. You can order anything from Barnes & Noble. The key is not that. The key is, will people be able to walk into a bookstore and see your book on the shelf? The browsing through the bookstore thing is not to be underestimated. The booksellers have it and see it, so they can hand sell it to their customers. That is not to be underestimated. Like, that's what I want. And I have my books in several smaller bookstores, Baka Phoenix in Toronto, and there were several other examples of bookstores where my stuff has shown up. Obviously, Black Rock Books I mentioned, but a handful, maybe 5, 6 stores or whatever. So figuring out, yeah, absolutely, classic book. So I want a publisher that has distribution. And that doesn't just mean it's available, but that they actively promote it, sell it, and it gets into stores. That's what I want. That's actually a very good call, Classicor, because there's a good chance, actually, that Athos is going to be there. So that's a very good call. That's a very good call. I would think about that. That's very cool, Winchkin. Yeah, please let me know. I mean, I'm always interested. I know quite a bit about the industry, but obviously there are certain things that I miss. And there were different other. You have the micro presses, which is like one person. You have the small presses, which can be anywhere from 2. Basically, Athos is a 2-person operation, 2.5 to 3-ish maybe, but basically 2. And then you have, moving on up, you have more of small presses, which can be like 5 to 6. Medium presses where you get, and then the huge presses where you can have hundreds of employees. Obviously, I would love to get into Tor, DAW, Penguin, one of the huge ones. I'd love to do that, obviously. My thing is, I have a lot of books that I want to write. I feel like I have a good career in that I've published a number of books. I have not self-published anything. I've published a bunch of books. So my academic book came out from Clemson University Press in 2 editions now. I've had, obviously I had Icarus, Angelic. Icarus now is 1 graphic novel. I've had the trilogy now, the Grey Assassin trilogy with Athos. I've had 5-Star with Gail Cengage imprint, which did the 3rd sign. I've had multiple anthologies that I've been a part of that were some with Athos, some with Silence in the Library and elsewhere. So there's all different kinds of things. But I appreciate that, Imaginary, and I will definitely look into that. I definitely, I'm grateful for the suggestion. I'll look into that person. So I'm trying to build the audience that I can reach, and that's one reason why I think that I do good work now. I think I'm a good writer. I've worked hard at it. And I'm trying to build my reach because I think my work has commercial value, right? Has commercial potential, but it's about reaching people and connecting people. And, a print run, you sell 50 copies, 75 copies, 150 copies, 200 copies. That I'm not minimizing that, but it's just not, it's not going to move the needle anywhere. But if you were selling thousands, then you're starting to move into a different category. We're going to try to hit some of the things on Book Talk, YouTube, and obviously Twitch. So we're really trying to push this as a full, like a full trilogy, a completed trilogy. I really want people to think of the series as a whole, not just Heretic, the final book. But that's one I'm trying to think of as well. Yeah, Tor, not Torda, but Tor, which is one of the biggest fantasy publishers in the business. Yeah, definitely, Winchkin. I would appreciate any of that stuff is helpful. NaNoWriMo, that's cool. Yeah, I admire people who are able to do stuff in NaNoWriMo. Just for me, NaNoWriMo just doesn't work for me because I don't write that fast. Not well, anyway. Like, I wrote basically Heretic. I wrote the manuscript for that in about 9 to 10 months, and that is really pushing it. Like, that's faster than I want to write. Honestly, if I'm writing a 90,000 plus word book, I basically feel like I can pull out one of those in a year, like 12 months. And optimal would be that I was releasing a book every 2 to 3 years. So I can write a book in about 18 months is where I feel comfortable in terms of my writing speed. I can write faster than that, but I don't like doing it because I just don't, it stresses me out and I don't like doing it. So I would rather have that consistent page a day. Now I know people who write, Matt Forbeck can write like 4 novels a year. God bless him. I can't do that, especially when I also have a full-time teaching job as a professor, and I'm also, I have my family life, and also there's the channel and all the other stuff I do. So I there's only so much I can do as far as that's concerned. Well, it's funny you mentioned that Effect Life, because there's a certain other person in this channel who I've talked to multiple times about translation, that we've discussed it. The issue is getting publishers out there. I mean, listen, I don't know. I know that my friend Brad Bollier, for example, has done very well with international rights, and he has a very good presence in the UK and in France and in Germany. I would love to do that. I mean, I'd love to have a presence in those countries too, but it's again about distribution. That's funny, Wenchkin. Well, listen, but maybe those 500,000 words were words that you had to get out there, 116,000 words. Good golly, Miss Molly, that's a lot. Brad's doing okay. He's had some personal stuff that he's had to deal with in his life, but he's hanging in there. He will be at the Writers' Symposium in Gen Con in Indianapolis, so you may or may not see him if he shows up on a stream randomly, but yeah, he's doing okay. His writing is doing well. So yeah, for me, like, totally affect life. Like, I talked to someone about translating it also into Portuguese, translating a couple of those books into Portuguese. They could go well, but again, it's about, I think the work is good work, but I need to be able to sign contracts with people who want to be, publishers who would like to distribute it. And so, yeah. Right, Classico, right, yeah. Yeah, he's doing okay there. Yep. And yes, no, for sure, Effect Life. It's a good call. I have talked to a few people about that. Sometimes if they wanted to see if it does well in the English market too. I don't know. It's one of several reasons sometimes where I feel like I wish I was Canadian, because I feel like the Canadian authors have more theoretical support anyway. Not perfect, but they have more potential support that American writers certainly don't get. So, I'm keeping on. This is one reason, though, why I'm really hoping for a big response to Heretic. I'm really hoping so. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Sorry. I am going to be on a panel about the links between games, tabletop games specifically, and video games and writing at the Nebulas tonight. I forgot to mention this. So there's a virtual component of the Nebulas, which are the big awards given by the SIFWA, the Science Fiction Fantasy Writers Association that I belong to. And so I'm going to be on a panel this evening. Probably, I think it's like 7:30. If you go over to the Nebulas site, if you do a search for the Nebulas, and you search for my name, I will be on a panel about that on the Nebulas, yeah. Well, I honestly, I've had so many things I've been announcing lately, I kind of forgot that there was this one too, so. I hope it's not stuttering, but it could be. Does Athos Arts, what did you say, Classicor, what did you say about, I didn't understand your question. Are you asking if Athos Arts handles submissions? Yeah, they definitely do. Can recommend. But again, one of the things, I like Athos quite a bit, but Athos would be the first, Emily would be the first to tell you that they're small. So that means that they're small, but they are also critically acclaimed. Like, they've been getting a lot of attention. One of the reasons they got this big push on their GoFundMe is because Neil Gaiman, of all people, retweeted them, and that was a big thing. Wool Talabi. There's a lot of people who have been talking about them, and they have a bunch of things shortlisted on appearing on various awards, so they're doing quite well in that regard. And I myself, as you know, won an Independent Book Publishers Association 2 awards, actually. One for Icarus, one for Greyshade. So obviously, they are getting a lot of attention and notice, and that's great. They also do not have a big distribution network. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. So that's one of the reasons that I'm looking for, like, distribution specifically. Yeah. Hey, Big Boss. Okay, see you, Big Boss. Good to see you as always. Yeah, 31,000 skip frames. I don't know. I think I'm okay on my end. So, speaking of work, I should say. Okay. So probably, Chad, I should, this has been a lot of fun, but I should probably wrap this up. Because I do need to finalize stuff with my car, and I do have some work I have to get done today. I have to do fulfillment. I have to send stuff out to people for ArvCon things. And some of you, I may be able to give you your items in person if you're over in certain places. So we'll see. But I do need to. I probably do need to rise up on out. So I will be back tonight. Remember at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be here for. Yeah, thank you, Winchkin. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I think it's a bunch of CDs. I will have to double check. I mean, I have the spreadsheet that I'm going through, and I have to do the rest of that today. So I'm going to try to finish that up today, a little bit tomorrow. Certainly by the end of the weekend, I should have it finished, and I'll send a lot of this stuff out on Monday. But I'll be back tonight with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so don't be a stranger. Please come back for that. Make sure to follow the channel. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to support the Patreon. Make sure as well to make your plans for August 17th if you're going to be over in Europe. Make in the UK specifically. Also, if you're in the Connecticut area, late July is going to be that first thing. It's going to be that first big stream, the big pre-release stream. And don't forget, a week from this Tuesday, so June 18th, is going to be the big cover reveal for Heretic and also for a lot of other Athos Arts titles. So you should definitely stop by for that. But otherwise, this was fun. The world's finest chicken stalking simulator, it's true. Yeah, we're going back into some main quest action tonight. It's good stuff. But I'm going to head on out. I will see you folks tonight. Much love to you folks as always. And you know the drill. Everyone be good to each other. Have a lovely day. I will see many of you tonight or later this week or next week. So, bye-bye all.